Rarely has mankind hesitated to eradicate the creatures that stand in the path of his conquest. If we find ritual extirpation, undesirable natives of another world, the rest must be destroyed. Is it possible that our dark past and pray?
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Nick speaking from Close Encounters of the Podcast Kind. You know, when you're listening to this right now, I'm going to be on vacation, okay? So we didn't have time to get a full episode outline ready, and, you know, Tasker and I couldn't put our great minds together to bring you the content that you're used to, okay? But what we're going to do in lieu of this episode is something that we're going to call Nick's Rant, where I will choose a topic to rant about, right? Because there's a lot of things that piss me off. And there's a lot of things that I believe are happening that shouldn't be happening in this world. And this is going to be my platform to talk about these things, okay? For instance, Tasker, he is not here to rope me in, right? He's not here to say, Nick, you shouldn't be saying this. Nick, you shouldn't be making fun of Native Americans. Nick, why do you always have to pick on Irish people? Well, guess what, everybody? It's just me, okay? So for the next, I don't know how long this is going to be, you're just going to have to hear my voice talking about something that pisses me off, okay? And I just want you all to know, first off, this is going to be experimental. We're going to judge your reactions. And you know what? And this is only going to be coming out when things come up like vacations or when somebody gets sick, right? When we can't have an episode out on time within like a day, even like a day or so late. So this isn't going to be all the time, but let's give it a shot. And before we get started, I do want to point out that we are planning to open up a YouTube channel. We're going to have our audio streamed on YouTube in case anybody prefers listening on there for some reason. We are also going to be taking some professional photographs of ourselves so you guys can finally put a face to the name, okay? For better or worse, right? I'm sure 88% of you out there listening to this are fine not knowing what we look like and just letting your imaginations run with you, but we're going to crash all of your dreams and just show you anyway. So stay tuned on all the social media platforms for our beautiful faces to make their appearance. And without further ado, I would like to talk about something very near and dear to my heart. Okay, I've brought it up a couple times, and by a couple, I mean like almost every episode. Something that I can't stand. Okay, and that's going to be furries. Yes, it's happening. I'm just going to talk about furries for a little while. Where do I begin, right? Like, do I start at the psychology of a furry? Like, do I start at, like, why are they the way they are? Why can't they go out in public without putting on some stinky-ass, dank fursuit and calling themselves some dumb name like, I don't know. They usually have like Japanese names. And nothing wrong with the Japanese, right? I'm part Japanese. I'm fine with it. But when you start, there's a correlation between furries and weeaboos. And for those who don't know what a weeaboo is, I want you to picture Tasker, okay? It's a white person who loves to watch anime. I believe they also call themselves otaku, or is that a derogatory term for them? I don't know. I'm not a part of the culture, thank God, right? But there's a correlation between furries and weeaboos, people who like anime. So that leads to why they have Japanese names all the time. It's as if it wasn't bad enough that you're just dressing up in a fursuit, that you have to go ahead and just put on your fursuit, and then you have to go by like, I don't even know what a Japanese name sounds like, and I'm part Japanese. How sad is that? I mean, so we've talked about in the past their degeneracy, right? Because when it comes down to it, that's what it is. I'm a believer that every fandom, every group of people has how do I put it? Has degenerates. They have extremists in their groups, right? But the problem with furries is that it's like a majority, a hard majority of them is a very hypersexual, like coming over all over everything group of people. And there's no need for that. Like, you should have more shame. Like, you should have more of a, like, it's as if furries were excluded from knowing what shame was after Eve took a bite out of the apple, allegedly, right? It's like they were excluded from that whole shame thing. They don't care, right? They don't care that they're destroying conventions where, let's say like 2 out of every 3,000 furries at this convention are actually there to just have a good time and meet with fellow like-minded individuals, no matter how sick they are. But most of these furries will still go to the convention with no shame, just start jizzing all over the elevator, pooping in the lobby, all while wearing an animal suit, and then fucking everywhere else. So it's essentially like they've excluded themselves from God himself, right? God himself has said, look, you guys need to be ashamed of yourselves because this bitch Eve decided to take a bite of the only thing that I told her not to take a bite of. And all the furries 3,000 years later are like, you know what? No, it's cool. I'm just going to dress up like a frog and fuck that elephant over there. Like, that's not okay. You can't do that. I like people. I like it when people do what they want to do. That's fine. I'm okay with almost anything. Almost. There's two types of things that I'm not okay with. One, it's going to be hard crimes, right? I'm not okay with murder. I'm not okay with, rape, any of that stuff. And two, I'm not okay with furries. Like, why is it so hypersexual? Like, what is wrong with this situation when a group of people think it's okay to dress up like a bunny rabbit, right? Like, every day is Easter for them. And you know what, by the way, there's a term for that. There's a term for dressing up in your fursona, which is what they call their alter egos in the fursuit. So there's a term for dressing up in your fursona and fucking somebody else in their fursona. And it's called yiffing. Yiffing. That's disgusting. It's a play on words about, like, animals having sex, I believe. Oh my God, it's disgusting. Look, I have a story right here. Okay, this is fan fiction. This is something that I would like to read to you guys so you can kind of see what we're dealing with here. And look, I will preface this by saying I don't care if you're gay. Don't care. I'm cool with it. You know what? None of us are 100% straight anyway. Fight me. Fight me about it. It's true. But just listen to this. Fucking hell, he's hot. And that musk. Wait, I just gotta see. Yup, he's aroused. Looks like someone is excited. I slide my paw into his pants and pushes my finger into his sheath. What the fuck is a sheath? Into his sheath. Is that like an uncircumcised? Oh my goodness. Which earns me a loud moan and then a very passionate kiss. I sucks my lip to beg for entrance, but I deny to tease him. Who wrote this? My God, it's almost illegible. Hold on. I sucks my lip to beg for entrance, but I deny to tease him. But then he smacks my ass and I don't react and he looks surprised, then sucks my lip again and I allow him to enter. He slithers his tongue through my whole mouth, which makes me moan. Someone's eager, he says, and motions to my waist. Who won't have a hard-on boner if some muscular douche started making out with them. He fakes being offended. I know a little Dutch. And at least I'll be a sexy shower. Who wrote this? There are words in here that don't mean what I think this person thinks they mean. He starts carrying me to his bed and throws me onto it. Get naked, please, Tyrone. His name's Tyrone. I do so and teases him with my skinny but white, furred ass. Ugh. Come on, big boy. Come and get your boy toy. What the fuck? I say mockingly. I said what the fuck, not him. I say mockingly. When I hear a snicker, which is that of Dom. Who the fuck's Dom? He then decides to lick, and lick is capitalized, my anus clean and nibble my ass cheeks. And that earns him moans from me. I'm not going to finish reading this. For obvious reasons, okay? That was rough. That was hard to read for me, both on a grammatical level and also on a human level. It was hard to read, okay? But you get the point. There are thousands of those types of stories online, of furries specifically. Okay, and I know that you can pretty much find those types of stories for any fandom, but there's not that many of them is the problem. Yeah, you could probably find, I don't know, a handful of those stories for Mario, like Super Mario. That's something that usually Tasker would bring up, but in case you forgot, he's not here to bring up that nerdy bullshit, so I have to do it so both sides are appeased right now. You see what I'm saying? But there are a lot of these fanfic stories, these sexualized fanfic stories for furries. A whole lot of them. I read like at least 20 of them for leisure and 5 of them for research. And it was humbling. I think it's weird that that's the one that I chose. Is that saying something about me? No, I don't think so. I think that that's just the grossest one that I read. There were some gross ones out there. But the problem with some of the other gross ones were they were in chapters. Like there was an actual series of these. And I feel like in order to really get the full scope, I would have had to like start from the beginning. And I'm like, look, I hardly read anything as it is. I'll be goddamned if you make me read chapter to chapter furry fanfic just for a comedy bit. So I chose this one because it's a standalone story and it's equally disgusting. Like, look at this. Look at this next line right here. I grab a pillow and bites down on it as he starts to thrust. You still a virgin? He asks mockingly, as if he implies to my tightness? What does that mean? My God. This is degeneracy at its finest. And you know what the saddest part is, guys? If Tasker was here right now, he'd probably be defending them. He'd probably be talking about how, I know a couple of them. They weren't that bad. Yeah, to your face. But the second you leave them alone in a room together, start yiffing. I kind of wish I chose a better one as far as grammar goes. I know that this is a furry fanfic and not a work of literature that was made famous in the 1800s, but it would have been nice if they put some effort into it. Because then when I tried reciting it to you guys, I think reading it in my head, I filled the gaps in for all the shitty grammar and the word replacements that shouldn't be there. But reading it out loud, I realized how dumb it was. So this guy who wrote it, Tyrone_Tigers, I'm sorry, but that was it's a nope from me, dog. And then he has a little disclaimer at the bottom of his story. It says in parentheses, so ... How was this yiff scene? Good or eh? Please don't report me ... I left a mature content warning in the previous part, so you should be thought twice then. Kind of reminds me of me at the beginning of this podcast when we first started out, and I kept reminding you guys, it's explicit content. So if you're offended by the words that come out of my mouth, I told you. And you know what? I'll respect Tyrone_Tigers for telling his fans the same thing. There were 3,000 viewers and 17 people that favorited this story. 17 people out there somewhere in the universe read this furry fanfic and were just like, you know what? He understands what I'm talking about, and favorited it so they could probably read back later and then fap to it. That's the worst part of this. Okay, here's another one. In case you guys weren't sick enough to your stomachs as it is. The thumbnail for this one is two drawn. Okay, and I will say drawn quite well. It looks like wolf furries, like wolf anthropomorphic creatures making out. One of them's crying. And I don't know if those are sad crying, sad tears or happy tears. And the story is called Captured. It has 32.7 thousand reads. And 225 people have favorited this. Goddamn, I'm almost afraid to click on this. I don't know if I'm going to be flagged for anything. Oh, it's Star Fox. Tasker, if you're listening to this, dude, it is a furry fanfic of Star Fox and who I'm assuming to be the fursona of the person that wrote this, named Koinu Kitsune. Do you see what I mean about the Japanese names? It's all coming full circle. Koino Kitsune. Oh, brother. In the beginning of the story, it says, disclaimer, I obviously do not own Star Fox. Yeah, no shit. Just only in your weird sex dreams you own him or her. I don't know. I don't know enough about the character to know what gender it is. I'm sure Tasker, if he was here, he would be able to tell you. So here we go. I'm going to give you a little tidbit because I want you guys to understand why I'm talking about this, why this is a problem for me, and why I bring it up almost every episode is because it is just taking over. I was at work today. Side story before I read this story. I was at work earlier today. You know, everybody's wearing a mask, right? There's a pandemic going around in case some of you idiots haven't heard. Whether you believe in it or not. Apparently there's a pandemic going around and the government is making us wear masks. So anyway, I'm wearing my mask, right? I see a lady wearing a mask and it's got one of those, it's like a dog face, like a cartoon dog face. Now, if it wasn't for the fact that she had blue hair, I would have said she probably just really likes dogs, right? She probably just loves her dog, and maybe that's like a cartoon version of her dog's mouth, so she could weirdly be one with her dog. No, she had blue hair, and my immediate train of thought jumped to the fact that she was a furry. And the sad part is, I'm probably not wrong. It is becoming a pandemic. That is the real pandemic here, folks. Okay, we can argue all day long about if you think coronavirus is real or not. A lot of opinions come out, as Tasker calls it. I say a lot of facts come out. Everybody has their own facts. There's one fact that's true for everybody. The real pandemic is furries, because as we become more politically correct, which is fine, you can do PC shit all you want, man, but just know the tighter the restrictions become, the more free the furries become, and the more free they become, the faster they multiply in number. Like sand people from Star Wars, it's fucking horrifying. Okay. But they don't just run around yelling like a donkey like they do in Star Wars. No, they're running around fucking everything that walks and jizzing all over your country. So remember that. Okay, now back to this story about Star Fox and this guy, Kitsune. Fox blinked his eyes open, unsure of his whereabouts, which caused him to emit an irritated groan. Probably something like that. After his eyes adjusted to the dim light that was hovering just above him, he realized that the only light present... Who the fuck wrote this again? Hold on. Let me reread this sentence. After his eyes adjusted to the dim light that was hovering just above him, he realized that was the only light present. Okay, I'm just retarded. Sorry. It made sense. The entire room was pitch black, leaving the Vulpine guessing if the area was big, small, or just a decent size. Like, who gives a shit what size room it is? If you woke up in a strange room, would you care what size room it was at first? No, I'd be like, how the fuck did I get here and how do I get out? Fox tried his hand at sitting up, but to no avail. It was at that moment he figured out he was chained to a steel table by his hands and feet. Oh, here we go. What the hell? Fox mumbled under his breath while gazing to his left and right. To add the peculiar situation he was in. To add to the peculiar situation he was in, Fox soon felt a small draft waft over his body. His eyes went wide when realizing not only had he been chained up, but his clothes were removed from his body, leaving him entirely naked. I gotta get out of here, Fox quietly exclaimed, feeling slight panic overcome him. Yeah, no shit. Oh, no. Oh, here we go. Oh, God. This is fucking disgusting. Here we go. The teen Fox fiercely tugged his hands toward himself in an attempt to at least do something to the restricting chains, but obviously still to no avail. Oh my God. Citing in failure and giving up on his escape attempt, Fox squinted, pondering on who would capture him. Oh, finally, now it comes to his mind. Now he's like, why am I here? Then tie him up in these godforsaken chains, let alone leave him in the nude. So disgusting. His thoughts were soon interrupted by the sound of an automatic door swooshing open, then closing shortly after. Fox felt his body tense up, then lifted his head to try and spot who had just entered. Unfortunately for the canine, the room was much too dark to even make out who came in, but Fox heard their slow footsteps approaching in a slow and gentle manner. He said slow like twice in a row. That's poor writing. Edgar Allan Poe is rolling in his gutter grave right now. Just smashed off his fucking mind. Closer and closer, the sound grew to... Oh my God, this writing. Closer and closer, the sound grew to Fox as he waited the arrival of the culprit anxiously. When the figure stepped into the extremely dim light, the Vulpine gasped and let out a feisty growl. You know what I mean? Wolf, he spat with utter disgust, slathering over his tone. What? Correct, his menacing rival responded in his usual mellow, gruff tone. Oh boy. And why say my name like that, pup? The malicious canine faked a glum sound, tilted his head with a smug grin in his lips, and placed all 5 of his sharp claws on the Vulpine's bare chest. Don't touch me! Don't touch me! Fox shouted out, trying to move away in the process, but that obviously not working due to him being, he said being twice, I'm just reading it twice, chained to a table. Easy, pup. Wolf lowered his voice, now traveling to the teen Fox's nipples. Oh, sweet Jesus, Mother Mary and the Holy fucking Ghost. How far am I going to go reading this? Fox, now faintly blushing at his rival's lewd action, watched as Wolf seductively pinched his nipple, which made the Vulpine deliver a slight squeal of pain. Squeal of pain? Didn't know you were able to make such noises, Foxy. Wolf chuckled huskily with pure satisfaction, waiting for a response from the bound hero. Stop. Jesus. The helpless fox managed to breathe out, not like the bounty hunter would listen to his pleads anyway. Oh my goodness. Oh man. I don't know how much more of this I can read. What makes you think someone like me will listen to a helpless pup like you, eh? Fox's rival questioned with that usual gruff, yet severely attractive voice of his. Fox didn't answer the question. He couldn't. And right before his very eyes, he felt a tongue as rough as sandpaper slide along his chest and to his vulnerable nipple. Okay. Yikes. This is a long story. I'm scrolling through. Here, I'll just jump to something else. Wolf slid his hands down to his waist and gripped his pants. Grinning, he proceeded to easily unbutton the pants and ultimately ended up letting them drop to his ankles, where he then blindly kicked them off to the side. Now, before Fox was a half-naked Wolf O'Donnell wearing nothing but his boots and white boxers. Oh, brother. All right, look, I'm not going to finish reading this fucking story. Okay, and if any of you are disappointed by that, you're a part of the problem. That's not okay. You can't just make animals do shit like that. All right? That's disgusting. It's there are okay, again, I want to reiterate this. For this specific story, there are 12,000 almost 13,000 people who've watched this or read this, and 77 people have favorited it. And I can guarantee you at least 3/4 of the people who watch this have fapped to it. And the 77 people who favorited it are coming back to this to do it like on a weekly basis, right? And look, there's comments too, which is this fucking scariest part of this whole thing. I'm going to read some of the comments for this story about Fox, okay? The first one says giggity. This next one's in Spanish. I don't know Spanish. So if I say some obscene shit in Spanish, I apologize to all the Spanish listeners out there. Esto se puso chido. I don't know what that means. There's a comment here with a bunch of sunglass emojis. There's like 7 of them. That's a fat rip. Juicy stuff. OMG. Oh my God. The first thing I see when I click read is domination. Damn, wow, just perfect. Yes, a caller. There's a caller somewhere in the story. Oh my God, this is disgusting. Look at this. We can't keep letting this happen. Our children go on the internet, right? Our children go on the internet to learn things. Like they go on the internet to learn about, like, I don't know, the stars, right? What if they're following after Uncle Nick's footsteps and they're getting into aliens or they're getting into cryptids and they do their internet research and maybe they're trying to describe a cryptid who they don't know the name of, right? And they're typing in furry, small, like a furry, like human-like creature, right? To see what comes up. Maybe they're looking for Bigfoot or something. I don't know. All of a sudden, you have 30,000 furry stories pop up. They're like, what is a furry? They don't know what a furry is, dude. And then they start clicking on this shit. All of a sudden, Fox from that one game is banging a wolf. In detail that people seem to enjoy by looking at the comments. Oh my God. Look at this. Furry Embrace commented on that story saying, things got kinky fast. I'm loving it. And there's 4 replies to that. And I can't read it without an email. And I'll be goddamned if I sign up for an email on this website. Then I'm definitely getting flagged. Again, this is all about protecting the children. The internet is a scary ass place as it is. But the furry presence has been growing and growing over the last, I don't know, half a decade, right? Because they're feeling empowered by this. You can't make fun of them because you'll get canceled, right? We live in a cancel culture where if you say something, even if it's a joke, you will be Me Too'd so fucking hard that your eyes will spin in the back of your head. And then all of a sudden, people like furries are getting real brave now because they're feeling untouchable. Well, guess what? Guess what? Not on my watch, buddy. Not on my fucking watch. I stand up for what I believe in. And what I believe is this is just straight up degeneracy. And it must be stopped. Like I've said in the past, there might be a couple out there. I don't know. There might be a couple out there that are fine. Maybe they put their fursona on to really just let themselves go and they feel like, oh, they feel great. Maybe they play with their dog in like a platonic way in their fursona, right? Maybe they wrestle. I don't know. But I'm sorry, guys. Normally, I'm okay with the saying that, everybody can do their thing. Do what you want to do. But unfortunately, in the case of furries, a few bad apples always spoil the bunch. And there's no redemption for it. There's no redemption. You don't have an excuse anymore because even if you're one of the 10 furries in the universe that is completely fine, right? They're not just like humping pillows and fucking, I don't know, comment on you. Dude, I don't know. I don't know what they do, but I know I have an idea, but I don't have any specifics, right? Like they're shoving dog treats up each other's asses and stuff. But, I'm sorry, they've ruined it for you. And if you tell me that you're one of the good ones, the first thing that's going to pop into my mind is that's bullshit. And what was the last thing you came on that you weren't supposed to come on? I will ask you that. Okay, I'm going to read one more for you guys, really just to drive the point home. Because at this point, being this far into the episode, I'm teetering, right? I'm teetering on cyberbullying. But I want you to understand that this is a problem all across the internet. This is a big problem, all right? So I'm going to drive the point home. I'm going to read one more for you guys. Just little bits and pieces, because if I read the whole goddamn thing, I'm going to throw up. I'm already not feeling good. I had a shitty day at work. I've had a migraine since I woke up, right? I'm dealing with that right now. That's maybe where some of this angst is coming from. But if I read a full story from one of these guys, I might just throw up everything in my stomach. Okay. I want you to brace yourselves, okay? Notebooks away. If your notebook was out once for this episode, that's fucked. First off, you're not listening because I'd never said to do that. Second, why would you be taking notes on this? You're trying to figure out where a fox's nipple is? Because you don't need to know that as a human being. You don't. So don't worry about that. Notebooks away. Make sure you have like a hard drink in your hand because, yeah, maybe you can like tiptoe around two of these stories and be fine, like psychologically. But after a third read, like I'm drinking right now, okay? After a third read, you start thinking about the past and all the mistakes you've made, and maybe, what is it about them that draws them to this furry thing? Like, should I do it? No, don't stop. Because if you start thinking about you want to do it, I need you to do me a favor. If you're on Spotify, I need you to unfollow. If you're on iTunes, I need you to unsubscribe. If you're thinking, if this episode has driven you to the point somehow of convincing you that maybe they're not so bad, that's problematic. Okay? Anyway, let's get into it. Okay, this next story, this last story, I will say, is called Let It Happen. Okay? That's just what the story's called. It's called Let It Happen by somebody named My Burrito is Fuzzy. Oh my God. Okay, guys. So I just read the disclaimer in my head. Gonna have a hard pass on this one. Gonna skip this one because another thing I need to bring up about the furry community is a lot of their fanfic is underage. So I'm going to go ahead and just veto that one. That's why you read the disclaimers. And I suppose that's why these, you know what, I can't even give them props. I'm not going to say that. I'm not, but I will say at least they put a disclaimer. Jesus, what is wrong with these? Look, there's one of oh my God. Okay, I'm going to say maybe a third story is too much. I don't think we need to hear another one. I don't want to click on another one. I'm tired of sifting through this stuff and looking at all these thumbnails of like, okay, there's one I'm looking at right now and it's like what is that? It's like a wolf. It's like a wolf femboy furry is the only thing that I can describe it as. And I just don't like it anymore. I never did, but now it's just starting to make my migraine worse. There is one that looks pretty cool, and I say that lightly. It's called the Medic and Furry Girls. Never mind. It's the only reason I said it looked cool was because it's like a picture of like an army guy, and I was like, oh, okay, maybe this is like an actual legit story with like, perhaps there's some character development, maybe some kind of story arc that doesn't involve deciding where to come. Yeah, I'm going to not read that one. I just want you all to remember something. Remember, it's a pandemic. We must fight it. We must be able to recognize where they are and how they're affecting the internet because the children are so impressionable, and that's the problem, and that's why it's growing, right? We're living in a society where it's like okay to like put on a fursuit and dance around on TikTok in it because the second somebody makes fun of them and puts them in their place, just like when I was a kid, right? Which wasn't that long ago, but things have changed so much. You know, back in the day, and I say that like I'm some old fuck, right? Back in my day, no, I'm like in my mid-20s, but back in my day, if I did some nerdy shit, like I used to run around the neighborhood in a Star Wars costume, right? I used to have like this cloak and a lightsaber and like these nerdy glasses, right? With like the little things in the back to keep them on your head. And the kids never played with me, right? The kids never wanted to hang out with me. Do you think there's a reason why I don't wear a cloak anymore and run around with a lightsaber? Yeah, it's because I was fucking put in my place. I was called a nerd, cried about it for a little bit, and I grew up and I am better for it now. But the problem today is you can't do that, right? You're not allowed to go on a TikTok and be like, hey man, what are you, a furry, you know? And you can't make them feel bad about themselves. So they just keep increasing in number because they're like, hey, you know what? We are untouchable. Just remember that this is something that we're still dealing with. Stay vigilant. Know what's happening. And just protect the children. That's what this is all about. Okay? This has been Nick Rants about furries. And it was a long time coming, right? Like you've heard it in the episodes kind of like rearing its head every once in a while. And I decided, you know what? This vacation, not being able to put a full episode out, that's fine. I'm just going to take this opportunity. I'm yoinking the mic from Tasker and he can't stop me. And I'm doing this and I went full force on him. And yeah, so what? Maybe there'll be a couple less furries because of me now. And you're fucking welcome. So Count Chocula. There's a Count Chocula episode coming. Still working on it. Again, the files keep getting corrupted every fucking time we save the files. Something happens and we can't access it anymore. Now I'm starting to think that Count Chocula's owners are literally hacking into our laptops in order to get the information that we have uncovered, which is damning. It's very damning. The sooner we can get that out, the sooner we will have an episode for you guys. Until then, we will keep fighting the good fight and get you a Count Chocula episode out. If you're listening on iTunes, it would be cool if you could rate and review. If you're on Spotify, give us a follow. Why not? Hit the follow button, man. Join the club. It'll be fun. Instagram, We're at CEOTPK, Twitter at CEOTPK1, Facebook, Close Encounters of the Podcast Kind, or CEOTPK. And also email us your fucking local legends. We still haven't gotten many of those. We would like to get more of them so we can do an episode again on local legends. That's going to be ceotpk1@gmail.com. Remember, it could be anything from cryptids, UFO sightings. It could be even like a town murder. I don't give a shit. Send it our way. Join our Discord server, discord.gg/B, that's a lowercase b, 6, capital C, capital T, 5, capital M, capital X. And if you feel like we deserve a little bit something, like a cup of coffee or something for what we do here on the podcast, go ahead and donate to us at Coffee. So that's going to be ko-fi.com/CEOTPK. And remember, whether you're a furry enthusiast or you're on the true side with me, the truth is out there.
Dude, Nick, how the fuck do you not know who Star Fox is?